control the vertical.
Welcome to Anthologic, the TV anthology podcast. I am your host, Mark. Anthologic is a podcast dedicated to exploring the good, the bad, and the odd of horror, science fiction, and the best of mystery, suspense, anthology shows and series on TV. Join me as we slip through the cracks of reality to approach the extremes of experience, where we can peruse the stories and art of a sinister fairground of strange and wonderful rides. And now we go on to the show that is the focus of this particular episode. Welcome to this episode of Anthology. We host Mark, and today I'm joined by Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hey.
So this is another Night Gallery episode. Now, this is the 5th in season 1. We've actually gone through 5 already because the pilot is like an extra one. So, this is the 6th one we've reviewed. So this is getting towards the end of season 1. This is the second to last one of season 1. Fairly short season. Now, interestingly, I hadn't noticed this before, but pretty much every episode, apart from the ones in episode 1, which was the dead man, do you remember that? And the housekeeper, which was the guy who transferred the soul of his housekeeper into another woman, and the nurse, the guy that uses a nurse, the guy that's got a gold digging wife, and he kind of talks the nurse into doing stuff. Those ones weren't written by Serling, but pretty much all the other ones have been, and they kind of feel like Serling. They got that brand, and these ones are no exception. These ones, three stories tonight, written by Rod Serling. This particular episode aired for the first time in the US on the 13th of January 1971. So it's 48 years old or something. Okay, let's just jump into it. The first one's a fairly short segment, which is Pamela's Voice, starring quite famous individuals back in the day. Anyway, John Astin, who everyone still knows, it's Gomez, right, from the Addams Family movie, if nothing else. And Phyllis,
not the movie, the show.
The show, yeah, the old TV show. And his wife is Phyllis Diller, a famous comedian back in the day who was in the mould of Bob Hope. In fact, she even actually looks a bit like Bob Hope too. She's got the same kind of voice and delivery. She's got quite a grating voice, and that's played up quite a bit in this episode, this particular segment. Pamela's Voice. What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it was pretty good for what is functionally a bottle episode.
Why do you think it's just a bottle? Because it's one slugation,
it's like,
right?
All the other ones they had multiple sets. They had quite a few different areas they go to. In this one, it's pretty much all just dialogue.
It's a two-hander, isn't it? It's a two-hander.
Yeah, it's 2 characters, 1 room. It's all dialogue and some. They do some funky camera work, but mostly, it's just shot reverse shot.
Yeah,
so.
Now. I kind of like the acting in this, both John Astin and Phyllis Diller, but you found it a bit disconcerting because you felt the spirit of Gomez Addams was intruded somewhat sometimes.
Yeah, because he kept poking fun at her, and he did it with a slight grin, so it just seemed like I was looking at Gomez.
Yeah, he had the crazy eyes and the crazy hair as well, actually.
Yeah.
And it played out quite well. It's basically he hated his wife. She nagged and nagged and nagged him and wouldn't shut up. And it was kind of really obvious that's what was going on right here. And it appeared he's standing over a coffin, sort of talking about her. So it appears she's just died. But, I mean, this is going to be spoilers, right? This is going to be spoilers because there is a bit of a twist in this one. In fact, they've all got a twist of sorts, haven't they, kind of. We find out it's not her funeral. She died a few months before. It's his funeral. His wild living after she died had caught up with him. and it turned out he'd gone to hell, in essence, right? And he'd have to listen to his wife for eternity. But it turned out it was her heaven, I think.
Yeah, it was her heaven, but his hell.
She wanted to nag him for eternity.
Yeah, well, she wanted a bliss where she could just talk.
Yeah, and he couldn't shut it out. And he kind of just looked like he was going to cry at the end, didn't he? He's like, what he could do about it. And it ended. In fact, about 10 minutes was this one? Top? Something like that, wasn't it? It was quite a short one. Right. So you how do you think this, was this your favourite segment, or?
Yeah, of the three.
Yeah, it was a pretty good segment. I like this one quite a lot too. The second one was called Lone Survivor. Now, this had quite a few crew members, a few actors in it. The main one was probably the captain and the man they found adrift. Basically, a ship out at sea finds a lifeboat floating and what they think is a woman. And when they bring the lifeboat in, it's properly barnacled up, so it looks like it's been out to sea for years. And it turns out it has been out to sea for years. And on the side of the lifeboat is Titanic. Now, okay, and then a bit later on in the episode, we find out that the ship that picked them up is the Lusitania, which famously sank, I think, 3 years after the Titanic. It was
Yeah, they said it was 1915, so 3 years.
Yeah, so basically this guy's convinced he's doomed to be a shipwreck victim and to be picked up by other ships that are going to be wrecked throughout eternity. That was the premise of it. And he even told him what would happen. You're going to get torpedoed and all this, that and the other. He was dressed in a dress. Basically, for his cowardice got him on that boat. And while the lifeboat was being lowered, something happened and it kind of jolted or slid to one side. So everyone else fell out except him. He held on and then he got out to sea. And that's his thing. He's basically, for his cowardice, he's been cursed with this, it appears. That's how he tells it to the captain.
Yeah.
Who
then, if I remember correctly, just disappears along with the rest of the crew.
Yeah, that was I didn't really like that. It was kind of, he was talking and slowly the rest of the crew start disappearing around him and then he sees the torpedo. I guess they didn't want to film scenes of other people in the water, but they didn't film him in the water either, so I don't really understand. It wasn't very well put together as an ending, was it?
Nah.
And then finally...
I was going to say, because the bit after... So.
A bit after, we see him picked up by another ship, which is 40 years after, so it's 1955, which was probably famous about the time, still reasonably in the memory of the time this was made, but I've never heard of this. It was a ship called the Andrea Cora, I think it was, something like that.
The Andrea Dorea.
Andrea Dorea. We get exposed as on a sailor's hat, don't we? That's how we find it. Now, I had no clue this actually existed, but I presume that was another famous ship sinking. And then it ends. So, we're getting the theme that he's going to be drifting forever, being rescued. And not starving or anything like that. And not a great episode, I don't think.
Yeah, it was just kind of boring because it was a lot of them just talking about how awful it was that he left, that he ran.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
It was too long it was on for far too long for this story. It should have been a much shorter story. I did like Colicos's performance when he was doing monologues. One particular monologue. I thought it was pretty good. He was quite driven. He reminded me a bit of Shatner. But in a kind of good way, when he was kind of monologuing about what had happened to him. He had like crazy eyes and, talking about his problems and all that.
Oh, he had quite a good performance. It was kind of boring.
Yeah. The performance, we can't fault the performance. It's the story was overstretched, really. It spread too far. Which brings us to the next one, which was The Dull. Right. Basically, an old army officer's got... Is it a niece or something? A young girl?
It's his niece. He's in a... I assume it's a will. His, brother or sister, whatever. They've died and left his niece's care to him. Yeah. Along with, their house. There's
a housekeeper child looker after in the house. She looks after... Shani Wallace plays her. Right?
Yeah.
Nanny. Shani Wallace plays her. She's the one who plays Nancy in Oliver. So this was weird. This was made a couple of years after Oliver. She's quite good. The niece can't act, but she's got this creepy, weird-looking doll that got sent from India, and the Colonel's been away in India and getting shit back, and the nanny's under the impression that the doll was sent by him because it was sent from India, and he doesn't like it, and he suggests another doll, but he says no, we'll get a replacement doll, and that replacement doll gets ripped up, and the little girl seems to talk to the doll, doesn't she?
Yeah.
While I said this was written by Rod Serling, it was based on a short story by Algernon Blackwood, who would often write this kind of thing. He's a pretty good writer. I reckon it's probably a good story on the written page. Didn't quite work for me, this one. How about you?
This one feels like it actually could have used more to do with it, because they had a weird thing where the doll got creepier, but we only really saw the doll 3 times.
Yeah,
so.
We could have done with a little more creepy development. It could have been done to be in the paranoid mind of the man, for example, rather than us physically kind of seeing the doll change. We saw that. If it could have been done so it was through his eyes, perhaps. We also get Henry Silver in this, who's a great in a lot of exploitation films as unfortunately an Indian character who's got an American accent, even though he's from India. And we signified he's from India. They don't even brown his skin much. He just has a turban on, right? So he's and he's talking about what this guy, the Colonel, did to his brother, and it's kind of revenge, isn't it, and all this kind of stuff. It kind of falls apart at the back end in terms of some of the plotting. It's kind of odd. What do you think?
Yeah.
The very end scene, I don't mind, but
the very end was kind of good in the sort of Night Gallery, Twilight Zone sort of twist way, where the guy doing something horrible got his comeuppance.
He basically receives a package, he opens it, and it's a doll of the Colonel. Quite a good doll of the Colonel.
Yeah,
they put
it opens its eyes as he
grins at him, and but we never quite realise how the doll does him in. Either of them in, really.
Well, no, it seems it's like a voodoo doll. Whatever damage the doll takes, he takes as well.
Yeah.
So there's a bit where he hits it with a fire poker, and it gashes his arm, just like gashes.
And he throws the doll in the fire, doesn't he? At one point.
Yeah, and then he dies.
Yeah, so there is that. So I thought it was okay. It was certainly better than The Lone Survivor, but it felt a bit scrappy towards the end. Apart from the very final scene where we see the other guy get his comeuppance, I quite like that. So what do you think?
Yeah, the end was probably the only good bit of it, really. It was a lot of talking about how... Okay, so it kind of reminded me of the opening of, I think it's Romeo and Juliet, where they're just going on and on about biting thumbs. It's just constant back and forth about that, except it's whether he would have sent a doll.
Yeah. It was kind of having a go at the nanny for just assuming too much. Yeah. And she was kind of all that. There was plenty of that going on. So so not a great one, not a great episode. Or Pamela's Voice was the best one in my opinion, but it was very short as well, right? It was very short.
Yeah.
It was okay. So not a great one. Any final thoughts on these 3?
Not really. No.
Let's wind it up there. So bye from me.
Bye.
And may I ask, is anybody out there?
We now return control of your television set to you. Until next week at this same time, when the control voice will take you to